So this is at PetSmart in Florence. Her name is Cindy. She's a year old and she's already fixed. She's a happy kitty. Hi, Cindy. And this one has found a home. Hi. Hi. Oh, they're so cute. And nobody over here. This is what we're getting Delilah for her birthday. I have Delilah's gift right here. It is her 3rd birthday. Delilah, happy birthday! Do you like your gift? Can you show me your new toy? Delilah! That's not the toy. Okay, she's gonna have lunch instead. Delilah, is that your gift? From my studio, I went to my storage unit and I had a ton of books there just because I haven't had room, or one time I didn't have room, but now I think I will. So I got that because there weren't that many books in it, and I'm just going to sort through the books that I got. So in this first stack we have The Churchills by Mary S. Lovell, The Strength and Honor, The Life of Dolly Madison by Richard, and I don't know how to say that. This is a book by somebody I hate, but I think it will be really intriguing, and that is Tommyland by Tommy Lee. This one was a gift. Who got me this? Oh my gosh, yes, love her. I don't know if she wants me to say her name on here, but Inland by T. That's how you say that, but that's our first stack. Moving on to our next stack of books, we have The Occasion Doctor by Sandra Hillick, and I think this is further along in the series. I've read the first book and I've read a prequel, but I know with the romance it doesn't really matter what order you read them in. And then classic All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't know who this is by. Eric Maria Remarque. And the movie for this, the recent movie, the German one, I wanted to vomit after. I felt disgusted, and that is like a good thing. This one I absolutely love this cover. This is Conjure Woman by Afia Adekora. One that terrifies me because the height, and that is Ninth House by Lee Bardugo. Last stack here we have Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, Intimidating Again, Monticello by Sally Cabot Gunning, and The Hope Diamond by Richard Curran. Backstage Pass by Paul Stanley, and this is a signed one, if I can get the page here. And lastly, Fate of the Fallen by Kel Cade. Hey guys, welcome to a new vlog. I feel like I might look kind of crazy because my eyes were watering. I like gas. I know I'm saying this in the first 10 minutes, but like burping, and it hit me like in the middle of recording a TikTok, and I was like, I gotta pause, and all that made my eyes water, but I am feeling good. Yeah, I have mascara on my face. I'm a raccoon, but raccoons are so cute, so. But let's go through my weekly TBR. The theme of this week is doing my book club book. We'll get to what that is in a moment, but our quote for the week is from Jane Austen, and it says, "I declare, after all, there is no enjoyment quite like reading." I also love the colors, the reds and the greens. Red and green go together, but it's so pretty. Now let's get into the weekly TBR. We have my short story collection, which I was really scared that I wasn't going to be able to get to today, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to try. But this is Memory Wall by Anthony Dower. I'm not sure how you say his last name, which is bad because he's one of my favorite writers. But the first short story in here was about a woman who is going through memory treatment because she has dementia, and this is speculative fiction, so there is a thing where you can watch your memories again. But the second story I'm on now, I just started. It is about a couple who were trying to get pregnant but are dealing with infertility, so I'm about to get into that. But this is the book that is the main focus for the vlog, and that is Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. This is available on Kindle Unlimited to let you know if you do want to join my book club. The link is down below in the description of this video, and even though I'm reading it now, it's open all month if you guys would like to jump in. Let's see what the book is about. Humanity has colonized the solar system, Mars, the moon, the asteroid belt, and beyond, but the stars are still out of reach. Jim Holden is XO, I'm not exactly sure how you say that, but of an ice miner, making runs from the rings of Saturn to the mining stations of the belt. When he and his crew stumble upon a derelict, like an abandoned ship, the Scopoli, they find themselves in possession of a secret they never wanted. A secret that someone is willing to kill for, and kill on a scale unfathomable to Jim and his crew. War is brewing in the system unless he can find out who left the ship and why. Detective Miller is looking for a girl, one girl in a system of billions. But her parents have money and money talks. When the trail leads him to the Scopoli and rebel synthesizer Holden, he realizes that the girl may be the key to everything. Holden and Miller must thread the needle between the Earth government and outer planets revolutionaries and secretive corporations, and the odds are against them, but out in the belt the rules are different, and one small ship can change the fate of the universe. We are focusing on sci-fi this month, and that was the pick that everybody voted on. Thank you to the people of YouTube who helped with that. And then we have my mood read, which is What We Kept to Ourselves by Nancy Junyan Kim. I might have pronounced that. I have a hard time reading that font. This is a kind of, it was listed as a thriller, but I would say it's a literary one. We are following two timelines, one in the past and one in the present. The past is starting out in the 70s and the present in 1999. This is a family of Korean immigrants, and the mother has gone missing, and some things start to show up about her disappearance. Lastly, we have my ebook pick, which is Written in My Own Heart's Blood by Dalma Gabaldon. This is the 8th book in the Outlander series, which is a big epic series with some time travel elements involved, but taking place during the American Revolution. And that is the weekly TBR. Time to update y'all. So I got about a third of the way into Leviathan Wakes. I read 69 pages. I'm now on page 203, and I am reading this on my Kindle. I do want a physical copy, but it was available in Kindle Unlimited, and I want to be using my Kindle Unlimited subscription or whatever, but the notes are on my phone, so I am going to be looking at my phone here, but I will hold up the book. We started on chapter 13 today, or I started. You know, every time I say we, my dad's like, who are you talking about? And I'm like, I don't know. But there's we have two point of views. We have Holden, who is the XO of an ice miner. I don't really know what XO stands for. And then we have Miller, who is a detective. And this chapter 13 was a Holden chapter. And yesterday I had read, so chapter 13 was where I started, and chapter 11 was the last time I had seen these characters. And I felt really disjointed because I was like, whoa, what's happening? This isn't where I left off yesterday. But I was like, oh yeah, we had that chapter in between. So I just felt really disjointed, and I think the flow is kind of choppy, I guess would be the word to use to describe it. I'm gonna have to talk with people in the book club and see if choppy would be the word to use. But this chapter was really immersive, and probably the most immersive one yet. You could really tell how high these stakes are, and the anxiety and just the fast pace of everything that was happening with the characters are trying to like get out of this situation. It really put you into their shoes. Now we have chapter 14, which is Miller, who again is our on an asteroid, and that made me start to think, how fast are asteroids moving? They have a whole settlement, like there's bars, there's where people live, they're called holes. I don't know. I picture like an apartment complex. I don't really know exactly what it is though, but there are like businesses and everything on an asteroid. An asteroid in my mind is like the size of a football field, like an NFL stadium. Let's say that, like, but in length. And yeah, probably length and width. That's how I picture it, like the size of a football field. How's all that fitting there? And oh my, how do you build things in space with like the lack of gravity and everything? How does that work on an asteroid? Because I know different planets have different ways of the gravity and all that kind of thing, or lack thereof. And I think it has to do with the size of the planet. But how does that work on an asteroid? But my note was, how fast do asteroids travel? Because we know how fast it takes, you know, the Earth to go around the sun, or Venus to go around the sun, you know, that kind of thing, and the moon to go around Earth. We know that. So how fast does it take asteroids to travel through the system? Also, I had never seen the word god awful written out in my head. It would be 2 words, but in this, it was 1 word, and I had just never seen it. Like, when I read it, I was like, wait, what was that? And had to go back and read it again, and, you know, seeing words written out for the first time. That's, I say god awful a lot. And then this is a popular quote, but somebody in our book club also made note of it, is he's seen a book, and I don't know, like, it's probably not the first time he's seen a book, but it's onion skin pages bound in what might have been actual leather. Miller had seen pictures of them before, yeah. The idea of that much weight from a single megabyte of data struck him as decadent. So he had seen a book for the first time. That's crazy. There's not a lot of trees really left in the world, and so how are you making books? I mean, I'm reading this book on my Kindle, so that's how they are probably used to it, is seeing it on a screen. Now we had chapter 15. It's loading here. And yeah, we had this, like, I almost want to say terrorist attack happen of ships is being blown up, and I'm like, okay, now we have other people dead that who they originally thought were the perpetrators of the attack, but now we have some of those people dead. So I'm like, I know it's naive, but that group of people can't be killing their own people, so who is behind this? But again, I could be naive and they could just be doing that. You never know, because governments and all that, it's crazy. And then we have a character, Naomi is in a red Martian suit, and that made me think of the Britney Spears music video. Which one is it? Oops, I Did It Again. I think it's Oops, I Did It Again. Y'all know, like, with the straight hair, the red, like, latex suit. I was like, yeah, it's Britney, bitch. I didn't expect these people to have nukes. Yeah, there's nukes in space. You know, we can't live without nuclear weapons. Oppenheimer, why do you have to give us that? And here, they're not afraid to use them. Because, you know, nowadays, like, people aren't really, like, using nukes. There's a great theory that aliens have actually cut off all the nukes, but like they don't want us to know that, you know. But again, conspiracy theory. I'm not saying I believe that. I really don't know, but yeah, they are not afraid to use nuclear weapons in this universe. Also, if you guys want to see all these notes, it's linked down below, the notes that I'm reading out here, and see notes from other people in the book club who are reading it. I'm just reading mine because I'm like, you know, this is my vlog. I didn't ask them if they would like their notes read out, but we're back with Holden now. And as I was saying, the chapter before, or a few chapters back, it was very immersive. You could really feel the tension and anxiety of everything. And now you are definitely feeling the relief of these characters. So I think those chapters, Holden's chapters, are definitely the most immersive ones. And I'm like, what if this vessel is a trap? Don't know what it is, I'm not saying. And then why are Mormons always in science fiction? Why do science fiction writers have fascination by Mormons? I don't know if these writers here are actually Mormon, but in my favorite sci-fi, one of my favorite sci-fis, because there's, like, you know, subgenres in sci-fi, but Book of the Unnamed Midwife, there is a lot of, like, Mormon talk, and the Mormons play a big part, but the author, I don't know if she's still Mormon or grew up Mormon, but of how they handled that kind of situation, like the plague situation and all. But there is not enough. There is, like, laws on Earth now of how many kids you can have. And, you know, Mormon people have a lot of kids, and they are going to find a new planet and are just going off on their ship to find that new planet so they can have as many kids as they want. And so yeah, so like Mormons are always in sci-fi. And this was another popular quote here. I don't, so this ship or whatever they're on had been the most complex, difficult feat of mass scale engineering humanity had ever accomplished until the next thing they did. And that's only something we always hear about. This is the most high-tech phone, blah, blah, blah. And then the new phone comes out and like, it's always like that. So chapter 18, we just have 2 more chapters here for y'all. Chapter 18, my notes, I had one. Yes, this was happening in the real world. All the anxiety that would be happening on social media is crazy, because we are having all these ships being blown up and everything. And once we had like that second ship blown up, it kind of reminds me of 9/11 when like the second plane hit. Everybody was like, this wasn't an accident, we're under attack. That is the vibe that I'm getting from this. And then a popular quote is, the beautiful thing about losing your illusions, that kind of sounds like the Guns N' Roses album, but okay, he thought, was that you got to stop pretending. All the years he had told himself he was respected, that he was good at his job, that all his sacrifices had been made for a reason, had been made for a reason, okay, fell underway and left him with the clear, unmuddied knowledge that he was a functional alcoholic who had pared away everything good in his own life to make room for anesthetic. Yeah, that's deep. That is what happens with addiction, and it is extremely, extremely sad. And a lot of time, not even with alcoholism, that people, when they are mentally ill, which is a sickness, alcoholism is a sickness, and you throw away everything you care about, really, and it's just, that is so sad to think about. Last chapter here, chapter 19. The roles are reversed with 2 characters. We have one character who was always like, she knew what was going on and everything, but like she, you know, she always had her senses, but now she's getting drunk at the bar, singing karaoke, and our other character is just kind of like, he's the sober guy at the bar when everybody else is wilding. And yeah, so those are all my notes for Leviathan Weeks. I am a third of a way into the book once again, and it is giving 2-star vibes. This is not doing a lot for me, and it's kind of scary because this was the first book. If y'all watched my reading goals for 2025, I am reading the highest rated books on my TBRs. Or on my TBR. This was the highest rated science fiction book on my TBR, and it's given 2-star vibes. I was very much misled. George R. R. Martin, you know, that's one of my guys. He blurbed the book. He definitely misled me, as well as NPR Books, IO9, Wall Street Journal. Y'all misled me. I got to over 25% of, or not 25, 75% of the way into what we kept to ourselves, and that was 21 pages read. I've given y'all a lot of my thoughts on this, and I want to just go down that call pal list again and just add on to what I said last week with characters. The character of Sunny is the one who bothers me. I think she's just kind of two-dimensional, and there were scenes early on where she like agitated me, but there's this lacking. Like, the other characters I feel like are pretty well developed, but she is the character who, she's the central like woman, you know, she's the one that went missing, and we're trying to unravel this mystery here because this is technically a thriller, and I don't understand her actions. Hopefully in the last 25% we do get more of a reveal, but for what it is right now, I just think it's really like selfish, and hopefully it clears itself up. She clears herself up. And then atmosphere, not a lot has changed there. This isn't really an atmospheric book, but to compare it to other books of, if you like this setting, you should read this. Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, is that her name? It's in Koreatown in the 1990s, and I'm pretty sure Tomorrow, Tomorrow, Tomorrow is in Koreatown as well. And Malibu Rising, because it's at Southern California, same time. Malibu Rising's in the 80s, when this is mainly in the 90s, but we do have plot lines in the 80s and 70s as well, so there is some of that same Malibu Rising. Like, I want to know if this writer is friends with Taylor Jenkins Reid. Like, it just seems like it by some of the plot points and everything, and that's gonna be we're gonna talk about that. But writing, it's definitely overridden. I think the writer had a certain word limit that she had to get to. I don't know if that's like on herself, because sometimes I'm like that. I'm like, okay, I want this to be 200 words. Or if it's like the publisher's like, your book has to be a certain page length or whatever. I don't know. But that's something I think about when I think of school. And I feel bad saying this because I feel like I've might have upset people in the past, but I don't know how I feel about word limits on things, but also I understand it because probably some students would be lazy and not write like anything at all. But at the same time, it when they're like with books, there's it's a lot of fake because it's like, what is the point of having all these words? It just makes everything clunky and long. And yeah, so definitely slow paced because there's so many words just trying to make the writing look pretty that it takes forever to get to the point. It started out really beautiful, but now I skim through these paragraphs because I'm like, just get to the point. And with the dialogue, especially with the character of RJ, it doesn't just seem realistic. I don't think somebody would talk on that long without letting the other person chime in. Very just long-winded dialogue. But plot, there are just some plot points where I'm like, why? Why did we need that? That's just so dramatic. And it's just some things that remind me of Taylor Jenkins Reid. Like, if somebody gets pregnant, it's like, I'm gonna be like, yeah, she's friends with Taylor Jenkins Reid. Because that happens in like all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. Not all of them, so don't think I'm like spoiling her books. It doesn't happen in all of them. But there's just some like, why did we have to go there? I'm wondering. So this is like a 3-star because I do think the plot is intriguing and the writing did start out beautiful. Oh, and with the plot, I feel like it's trying to do too many things and not getting it done well enough. That's kind of hard to put into words, but you know, when a book is doing too much and yeah, that can just be a little hard. 3-star vibes. I think I was gonna say something before that, but I don't remember. So we're going with 3-star vibes for that one. Again, I am at like 77% according to one of the mini apps that I use. So we should finish that this week, hopefully. And I'm going to begin into Outlander after my bath. I need to take off my makeup. I always forget to take off my makeup before my bath, before brushing my teeth and all that, and then it just gets messy and yeah, crazy. So when I do that, then get in the bath and it's gonna be so nice. My legs are sore from working out today and I did not get to mop the floor today. I only vacuumed in my room and that is like the Jaws, his name is Jaws, like, you know, the robo vacuum. I did not have time and like when everybody is awake, I can't mop the floors because everybody's like, I would do it, but they don't want to walk through, you know, kind of wet floors, like damp floors or whatever. So I guess I'm just gonna have to do that tomorrow and clean my bathroom tomorrow. It's going to be a lot more stuff than I'm used to doing in a day with my chores, but I'm the one putting these chores on me. Nobody's telling me I have to do this, but you know, I want to be more clean and organized in my life. But that's all for Monday. I hope you guys had a happy Monday because I know Monday can be stressful and scary for a lot of people, and it is my busiest day of the week as well, so totally understandable. Guys, happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday. I put up my Valentine's decorations today. You might be able to see some behind me there. And I did mop the floors, proud of myself. I cleaned my bathroom. My hands are really dry. And I went to my storage unit, which y'all saw that, but I didn't start the vlog yet really when I did that. But I went to my storage unit to just take a few boxes over there, and then I picked up the tote that had those books in it. There wasn't a lot in there and I was just like, what's the point? So now I put all my like junk and puzzles that I haven't done yet in that tote, and it's under my, not this desk because this is technically a desk, but my craft table, I guess. But this is a reading update. I got to page 267, so I read 64 pages today. Let's get the tab in, or not tab, the bookmark in. That is where I'm at. I'm almost at the halfway point here in Leviathan Wakes. I'm so sorry this vlog is going to be boring because it is like a 2-star book for me, and 2 stars just means it's a book that did nothing for me. I have a great quote choose to talk about that with y'all. Let me put this up here. And I started the day on chapter 20 and got to I read chapter 20 through 26. Okay, let's open my notes. Come on, phone. Oh yeah, I meant for that to be broken up more. So I really liked the opening of this chapter, and it was probably my favorite Miller chapter so far. And Miller's really alone in the world now because of just things with his work life and everything. And I was like, what if he joins the OPA, which is, it's been compared to like the Hamas, and one of the people in the book club, he compared it to the IRA. So that kind of, you know, terrorist group. But it's, so I was like, what if he joins up? Because, you know, those kind of groups pry on like vulnerable people, and he's really just down in the dumps right now. So I was like, what if he joins? But I'm not going to say if he did or not. And then I'm shocked that there's grass on the asteroids. I'm really curious how that works. I never really thought of, are there plants on other planets? But then I was like, I guess that would say that would be included in living life? No. Living like species on other planets. You know, when they talk about like if there's any living thing, there's a word that comes after living. But I was like, okay, probably not, because when we say that, like you think humans right away. But if we're thinking of all living things, my plants back there, they're included. They got watered today as well. They only get watered once a week in winter. But yeah, so I was shocked that there's grass in the belt, which are asteroids, but no trees in Baltimore. That's kind of crazy. And this is a popular quote here that says, the belt, so again the asteroids, youth brought invulnerability, immortality, the unshakable conviction that for you things would be different. And I don't think this is on asteroids. That's everywhere. When you are young, you feel like you can just take the world by the balls, to put it bluntly. And then I liked the next sentence that says, the laws of physics would cut you a break. The missiles would never hit. The air would never hiss out into nothing. Never into nothing. That's a double negative, right? And then Saya said, and I also liked the following sentence, when you're young, you feel invincible. And that is so true. And just thinking of people who die young, it breaks my heart. Let's go to chapter 21 now. I have 2 notes here. So I realized that Miller's chapters are more character-driven ones, when Holden's chapters are more plot-driven, really moving, a lot going on, and there are a lot more characters in Holden's chapters. So this is a writer duo, and we've talked about, we don't know if it's one's writing one POV and the other's writing the other POV. That would make sense, but we don't know for a fact if that's how it's done. But so with Holden's, you just have all these different characters, because you have a crew, or the surviving crew of a ship, and you're just having to have all of that in there. When Miller, we really only have him, and he's kind of a lone wolf at the moment. So I think Miller's chapters are more character driven and Holden's chapters are more plot driven. And I think that really adds into maybe each writer writes a different POV. And then I wonder how this war is going to go now, because we're not really seeing it firsthand anymore. What are the odds that they are going to be at one of these scenes again? But it is a book, and it seems likely that that's what would happen, because, you know, that's how plot works. Okay, let's go to chapter 22 now. And yeah, we have Miller arrive at Eros, E-R-O-S, and there's missionaries everywhere, and I was kind of shocked that there were Bibles and Methodist and all that mentioned, even though we talked about Mormons yesterday. But I was like, okay, the Bible, at least the Old Testament, I don't know how long that's been in existence, but the New Testament we can say about 2,000 years. So it would make sense that in the future there's still Bibles. If they've been around this long, they're probably going to be around a lot longer as well. And then, I don't know why, but I feel weird about how Miller, when, you know, he's looking for this girl, he's having conversations with her in his head. And I'm not saying it's weird for him that I dislike it, but I don't know where that's going to go, and it just makes me feel like weird. I don't know how to describe it. And so it'd be really interesting if they meet, that he's already gonna have this like kind of preconceived notion in his head because he's imagining talking to her when he really doesn't know really what she's like as a person. They've never met in person before, or at least we don't think they have, who knows. But chapter 23, yeah, that chapter kept me guessing, had me on the edge of my seat. I didn't know who or what was going to show up, and the next one would be kind of spoilery, so I'm not going to go there. Chapter 24, yes, this quote is how chapter 24 started. Miller looked at the dead man, the man he had just killed, and tried to feel something. And I was like, that's me looking down at this book, because it's a 2-star and it's doing nothing for me. And I always am like, what if I'm a psychopath? Like, when it took me months and months, like 6 months, a little over 6 months to find a 5-star book again, I was like, what if I am a psychopath or sociopath? I think sociopath is the right word. And I don't feel anything. That books don't do anything for me anymore. That is not true, because I since found like 7 5-star books after that. But I get scared. I get scared sometimes. And then, like, in our modern society, I clicked the wrong chapter here. I'm trying to go to chapter 25. We are so desensitized to everything. And in this, like, people are watching war happen. When, like, the invasion of Ukraine started, I would just be watching live streams of, like, Kiev. And I saw a plane get shot out the sky once on there. And, you know, and again, with the Ukraine stuff, one time I saw on Twitter just bodies in the street, like dead bodies. And even recently with the attack in New Orleans, there are pictures of, you know, the truck plowing through people. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, it does make me feel sick and all, but still, it's just like, you expect to feel more. I know this might be like really open telling you all this, but we are starting to become desensitized to those kind of things. And even like with shootings, the thoughts and prayers, like people just say that. Do they really mean it? I don't know. But let's see here. A detective hating mysteries. It's ironic, but it makes sense because a lot of people hate their jobs and it's really freaking depressing, but... And, oh, I just hit myself in the jaw. And we have this sickness that has been introduced. I'm like, obviously one of our characters is going to get it. And I think it's going to be Naomi. I'm not going to say, because I don't know. I don't know who's going to get it, but that's just my theory. And then, what is the Phoebe sickness, though? What if it was some kind of biological weapon going wrong? Because I'm thinking with the OPA, what if they came up with this biological weapon? And because we talked about yesterday, I was shook that like the belt and the OPA have nukes, but nukes are just really like indisposable in this universe, where like are very attainable. Like a lot of people have them, even though in our real world, we talked about the aliens and all of that yesterday. Let's go into our last chapter here, chapter 26. It felt like an action movie, and then I was right about one of my theories. I'm not going to say which one that I told y'all, but I was right about one of them, and that just, you know, pat on the back, feel good about myself, like I did that. And that is my update for Leviathan Wakes today. I will see y'all sometime later. Hey guys, happy Wednesday. I did go to Target a little earlier than usual. The first thing that I got is this little birdie that I've been wanting so bad. I saw it on Facebook literally the day after Christmas, and I was like, look at him. I love when they're like this like Sherpa kind of carpety looking material. His name is Buttons, and literally so cute. Love him. And let me show you the other random stuff that I got. So when I do, hold on, can I really make this for y'all? Can I like see that pillow? Okay. Is this tic-tac-toe, paint your own tic-tac-toe kit with paintbrushes and everything included. And I'm gonna do this while listening to an audiobook. I don't know when I'm going to listen to an audiobook, but we have a little less than a month to Valentine's Day, so we have a lot of time to worry about that. I got toothpaste. There were so many Sensodynes. I did not know which one to get, so I just got this sensitivity gum and enamel. Yeah, there were, I don't know what I have, so I just picked up a random one on the shelf to get new toothpaste. I wasn't going to buy a book today, but I was like, do I have this on my TBR? And I think I do. So this is Grady Hendrix one is a local author. He's done they had like a fiction festival here, but I've never gone because one, it's like 8 o'clock at night and across like literally like 5 miles away, and I don't want to drive all the way out there and make my dad go all the way out there at nighttime. And then it's only as y'all know, I'm a backlist person. I am not reading the new books coming out. So I would go to that and he'd be talking all about a book, and I'm like, I don't want to get spoiled for a book I haven't read. But yeah, Grady Hendrix is a local author. This one is taking place in St. Augustine though, which I love, love, love St. Augustine. That's actually, for my like European ancestry, the first place I had family in the United States. I'm a 12th generation American. So that is a very special place to me. I loved it even before I knew that, before I took a DNA test and all of that kind of thing. But definitely recommend going to St. Augustine if you've never been. It's a lot of old Spanish, because a lot of, you know, like colonial sites in America are English, but this is a Spanish one. But Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. And I say in my TikTok, if it's going to become a TikTok, who knows with how the world is. Why is wayward only used to describe witches? That's something I am going to look up today, hopefully, because there's only like, I need to look something up and I never end up doing it. But this is, they call them wayward girls, loose girls who grew up too fast. And they're sent to the Wellwood House in St. Augustine, Florida, where unwed mothers are hidden by their families to have their babies in secret, to give them up for adoption, and most important of all, to forget any of it ever happened. So that's the book I got. I got Brat by Charlie XCX. This was one of my favorite albums of 2024, and I picked up the album because it's one of my favorites and I want to own it. It was 40 bucks, so that's expensive. But that's what I got at Target. I'm going to go eat lunch now. I have read today in Memory Wall, and I will read later and update y'all later. I read 64 pages, and let me tell y'all, I am so tired. I haven't had any caffeine today. I've only had water to drink, and like, I need the caffeine. Let me get to what page I'm on in this physical copy. Yeah, this physical copy is probably going to be going to a little free library. I'm at 56%, which again, that was 64 pages that I read today. This is my Kindle. I'm like, I know I've shown it in vlogs, but I don't know if I've posted my background thing on Facebook yet. And I keep like, did I do it? Did I do it? Like, I need to do it. I am getting my notes up here on my phone. Okay, and I started the day on chapter 27 right here. Let me get the notes. So we know that nukes seem to be very accessible and attainable in this universe, and I was starting to wonder what kind of impact it has on people, because we've seen our characters survive multiple nuclear explosions throughout the story. So I'm glad that it took us 300 or so pages to finally find out that yes, there is an impact to the radiation, from the radiation to the human body. And then with the Phoebe bug, how there just some of my theories around that and why it is doing what it's doing, but I don't want to get too spoilery there. The thing that I think really is lacking in the fantasy and sci-fi genre is showing mental health, because we're seeing wars and all of this, and obviously PTSD is a thing, and if you are killing people and seeing all this messed up stuff, that's gonna have an impact on your mental health. And this book actually has been showing that impact, because these aren't easy jobs that they're doing. It's going to take a toll on them, and I'm glad that the book is actually showing that happens. The Poppy Wars is the book that does it best, though, let me tell you. And Miller, he's killed and he's done all these terrible things. He was a police officer and everything. Y'all know he's a detective. And I think with Julie, this case is the case, or this mission was going to be kind of to redeem himself in a way, because he's not going out to like kill somebody. He's going to find this missing girl, and he thinks that it will redeem him in some way. And then we have a popular quote from the Kindle that is, with a sense for raw opportunity where his soul should have been. So I'll let y'all think on that one. Chapter 29. Either of our characters' main POVs are going to die, but we still have half the book to go at this point. Like, what happens if one of them does die? I'm really intrigued, especially how this is like a writer duo. How I'm curious if one's writing Miller, one's writing Holden. What happens if one dies? And we had this part that really reminded me of how we talked about kids being invincible the other day. It is, he said it with much more bravado than he felt. The truth was he didn't want to die. Even during his time in the Navy, the idea of dying in the line of duty had only seemed distant and unreal. His ship would never be destroyed, and if it was, he would make it to the escape shuttle. The universe without him in it didn't make any sense at all. He had taken a risk. He had seen other people die, even people he loved. Now for the first time, his own death was a real thing. And I think that's probably definitely true for people who join the military. They're like, that's not going to happen to me. Yeah, am I not? I don't know. And then, yeah, the parts with Naomi are so unnecessary, and you can definitely tell these are men writing this. The female characters, in my opinion, are not well written, but again, that is just my opinion, and it's not like they're POVs, but just being side characters, it's not that well. And then we have a character who is coughing up stuff, but he doesn't look when he coughs it up, so I'm like, what if it's the brown goo, which is like the main thing with the Phoebe bug. And we have chapter 32 now. And we're all thinking about it. He's falling for everybody in this book, and it is annoying. And then the thing with Julie at the end of the chapter, I thought Julie was a teenage girl. Like, that's what I was imagining. And then just what this guy was imagining. Gross. I get it happens, but in this, just so unnecessary. All these things with the women. It's such an eye roll. And yeah. That's where we're going to end today. So yes, definitely still 2-star vibes. And I did want to update y'all on Target time earlier. This was on my horror TBR, so I didn't just buy a random book. It was actually on the TBR. Good for me. Justifying my book buying and money spending. Hey guys, happy Thursday. I'm going to give a reading update. First off, I am at the halfway point in Memory Wall now, and this is given 3-star vibes. It's good, but it could be better. There could be more. There could be better character work. Yeah, the character work, I have not connected with any of these characters. And I told y'all about the first story. Let me get the names of the story. So Memory Wall, I've told y'all about that. Good speculative fiction, but I would have liked more with the character development. Then Procreate Generate was our story about these people trying to have kids and going through an IVF journey. It was just repetitive, and I'm like, maybe at the time when this came out, that was all like something new. Yeah, this was published in 2011, the version I have. But I was like, yeah, we know how IVF works. Like, it was, yeah, I didn't really like care. Like, I was like, I want them to have kids, but so then the the DMZ, which is the like between North Korea and South Korea, we have a boy who is there who is currently in the military serving his country because a Korean soldier was like, why are you here? And he like I forget what he said first off, and then he was like, no, like, why are you in the military? And he was like serving his country, and like I think that probably started a lot of questions in his head. This is the shortest story so far, but he is sending letters to his father, who is like going through his own struggles like with the marriage and everything, and then the father is reading the letters to the grandfather, who was a Korean war vet but has Alzheimer's. So I don't know how all the memories are going for him, because all these have to do with memories. And then Village 113 is what I started today. This is taking place in China, and they are building a dam. But you know, before you build a dam, you have to get like all the people out of there. I don't know if this is modern or not. At first I thought, I was like, before I realized they were doing a dam, I was like, okay, they're trying to get all these people to move to one place, and it's like they put soil in the desert to say it was good farmland and all that. I was like, is this something speculative? But no, they're building a dam. I don't know when it's taking place, as I said, but it's trying to get all those people relocated. And then there are 3 more stories, but I will still be in Village 113. tomorrow. Again, just 3-star. Like, these are good stories. I think the DMZ one has been my favorite so far, and that was the shortest one, but I think this really interesting of, yeah, how the grandfather had been there and now the grandson was there. And the Korean War is largely like a forgotten war. Like, largely might be a bit of an extreme. I never really thought about it till I went to the memorial in Washington, and I cried. I definitely did cry at the Korean War memorial. And in Cloud Cuckoo Land by the same author, which is one of my all-time favorite books, there is a plot line with the Korean War. So I wonder if this author just has some sort of connection with that war. I would think so, for having, this is the second thing I've read from him that has that connection to it. But it's good, but I know he can write 5-star work. And I did want to do another update. Oh, Domina. For my TV, what I've been watching, I still rewatch some episodes of Rome because it's the best thing I've seen. It was the best show I watched last year and the best thing I've seen in a while, if I'm being honest with y'all. There's Fred, but I got to the time skip in Domina. I definitely do think the actors, like, I don't even want to say are better, but because I think with those like first 2 episodes, was it 2 episodes? I think it was just poor writing, but I do think the writer and director, like, this is a fetish thing for them. Just with some of the things on this show, like I told you about the weird bathroom stuff in the episode I watched last night. We have Crassus and he is peeing and like into a chamber pot, and then it goes the camera to somebody pouring wine, and you know the sound of pee and the sound of pouring a drink kind of sounds the same. I just thought that was gross and weird. They probably thought they were being really cool and edgy, being like, look at this transition. Like, no, you're just weird. I don't understand. But when we get introduced to our second timeline, I was completely overwhelmed, like I was in Leviathan Wakes. We are introduced to all these characters, and they all kind of look alike because they are all like cousins and related to each other. They're cousins, step-siblings, all kind of things, and siblings. And I was just like, okay, who is who here? And when you do the X-ray thing, that's the thing at the side that tells you who all the actors are. I'm like, it was a lot. It was overwhelming, but I think I have it now. I think I have an understanding of who's who by name anyway, and it's just gonna have to, Julia, who's the daughter of Octavian, who is Augustus, and at first I was really confused by her cousin, who is the daughter of Mark Antony and Octavia. Sorry, I thought I had to sneeze, but who is the daughter? I was getting them confused because, like, the names, again, the thing at the side with the actors' names, and then what was actually on screen. Amazon, they gotta do better with how they time that stuff. I've just come to issues with it in the past, but it has gone better. But still, I don't think this show is great, but it's given me Roman content. I did hear about another Sky show. Sky's an Italian channel, if you weren't aware, and it is called Romulus. So I'm assuming it's about the founding of Rome, and it's on Tubi, which I know Tubi, usually the things on there usually are not great quality, but since this is from Sky, which is, again, I told you, the Italian, like, it's an Italian channel, and it's like, I think Domina, everything around it is good. I think the writing's bad, so this has different writers, which I think it will, since this is a straight up Italian show and not, like, you know, a British show, that it could be better. I am going to check it out, see if I like it, because especially with it being on Tubi, that's it, by the way, with it being on Tubi, it's free, so, you know, can't go wrong with checking something free out. Time to do the last update on Leviathan Wakes, dropping things. I read 70 pages today. I need to see what chapter I started on. 34. So I only read 5 chapters, but there were 2 longer chapters. I'm pretty sure they were the longest chapters we've had in the book so far. So why am I opening the Kindle app? Yeah, I am still super sleepy, even though I have had caffeine today, but I am sleepy, and that's gonna come across in the video here. So let's go to chapter 34, which is where I started my day of reading. I think Alex will betray them. because he's the one who is the lone Martian here. Not going to tell you if that happens or not, but it would be nice. And all the Phoebe talk about this Phoebe bug I've been telling y'all about went right over my head. Yeah, it's gone over my head, but one of the members of our book club did a really good job at explaining it to me. So this book just got like so much bigger. Like this is such a bigger thing, a mystery, than we thought it was initially. Chapter 35 now. I think, yeah, I had no thoughts on that one. Chapter 36. Yeah, if I had been in this situation, I would do what our Holden wanted to do. They have all this information and it's like, what do you do with this information? But Miller, yeah, I didn't agree with him. So yeah, I'm not going to say what the information is, but if I had been in this situation, I would have just put it all out there, broadcasted everything and all the info, but not give my opinion on it and just let the people do with it what they will, because I think the people have a right to know, but don't hold me accountable. Y'all can form your own opinion. And then I think the authors were aiming for, we're on 37 now, I think that authors were aiming for a found family trope, but it just didn't land because there was that lack of understanding the characters, knowing who was who, and the Holden plotline overall just lacking a lot of character development, being more of a plot-driven story, when the Miller one was more of our character-driven story. And Holden's a creep, to let y'all know. Like, guy is a creep. Let's see, 38 now. Early in the book, we talked about Havelock and how we thought he would, you know, because they told him, like, don't go die like a hero. You hear that and everything, and the person goes and does that. But I'm like, what if it's the opposite? What if he turns into a bad guy? And then this is a popular quote. Working in some corporations was like going to prison. You adopted the views of the people around you. Definitely, I don't even think that only falls on corporations. I think any kind of situation where you are put in a new group, that can happen. And believe it or not, so war movies are my favorite like genre of movies according to Letterboxd for 2024. That's what I watch the most of. But I don't like battle scenes. Even in Lee Scott, he's my guy, but he goes on these very long battle scenes and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't care. And in this, we got like a very long battle scene and I'm not a big battle person. I prefer political intrigue in books and movies. And this whole time, I was waiting for Alex to betray them. I was waiting for it to happen. But I need to mark in here the page that I got to again. I got to 401, and as you can see, I am just bored with this book. It is a buddy read, so I am, you know, still putting in some sort of effort to it since it is my book club pick. I don't know how this is the highest rated science fiction book on my TBR. That honestly amazes me, but there's where we are. I'm at 69%. I will not be finishing this in the vlog. If you guys would like my thoughts on it, be sure to check out my Goodreads, Storygraph, or Fable. They are all, or my blog. They are all linked down below in the link tree. I finished a book, and that was my mood read of What We Kept to Ourselves. I am giving this a 3-star, but on CallPal, that is a 2.85. I want to go over my thoughts with y'all. So, character work. I really liked our younger characters, the children, being Anna and Ronald. Ronald especially was the standout here for me. And I think their character work was done very well. And I loved seeing how relationships can be viewed differently by each party in the relationship. In this case, we are seeing the parents and the children. The parents are immigrants who lived in Korea during the Korean War, and then their children are teenagers in the 1990s in Los Angeles, and just seeing how parents may just see their kids as perfect, but the kids are more likely to see flaws in their parents, and just how you can have totally different views from somebody in your family but still love them and still care for them. And just that love between parents and children is so, what is the word when they say Jesus loves you? It starts with a you. Like, nobody can love you that much as the love you know, between parent and child, unconditional is the word that I was thinking of. But there is a but. The character work on the parents was awful. You are probably supposed to feel some kind of sympathy for Sunny, who is the mother. She disappeared. I feel very little sympathy for her. There were some chapters where she was just extremely irritating. That was very early on, but then you start to know her better as the story progresses, because obviously that's how you're in a character's head. The longer you are, the more you get to know them, hopefully. And I did not agree with her actions, and I don't think that was the intention of the author. I think you're supposed to be like, yes, girl, you do that. But like, no. And then with John, who is her husband, his character work did not add up of how he was at the start and how he was at the end of the book. No, it didn't add up. And then the atmosphere, I gave a 2. Characters, I gave a 3, by the way. Atmosphere, I gave a 2. I didn't really feel anything massive towards it. But if you like Tomorrow, and Malibu Rising, then you might like this setting. And if this was like in a modern setting, you know, because it takes place the year I was born, 1999. If it was in that modern setting, I think that it probably could have, like, they wouldn't have needed a book. But writing, I gave a 3. I first started reading this book by reading it out loud, and I was like, man, that is beautiful writing. But as I spent more time, this is so overwritten. This is nearly 400 pages. It's 395 pages and is like a literary mystery. And it was just so much on the page. Just purple prose, 1. And 2, the dialogue just seemed unrealistic to me, because it would just be like, you know, like this much. A third of the page would just be dialogue of one person speaking, and I just think that's incredibly unrealistic. I think the dialogue was unrealistic. Then the plot, yes, this plot is very intriguing, having a 2 timeline, a new novel about a family search for answers following the disappearance of their mother, and seeing what life is like for Korean immigrants, and especially ones who were impacted by the Korean War, and what it was like coming to Los Angeles, and especially in this time period. Intrigue, it was unpredictable. It went places that I didn't think it would, but I did get bored at times. It did just kind of go in circles trying to unravel the mystery. And then logic, yeah, as I said, I did not like the logic. I don't think a lot of it added up that well. I think it was just very chaotic. And enjoyment was a 3, and that's obviously what I ended up rating the book. It was trying to do too much, I think, but went very surface level, and I think this book could have been a whole lot deeper. And those are my thoughts on what we kept to ourselves. I will be donating this book to a little free library, but if any of this sounds intriguing to you, I would still recommend picking it up, because it's still a good book. It wasn't bad, but it's not really one that I see myself reading again. But I am going to be ending the vlog here. We need to talk about what we're going to be reading next week and what the theme of next week's vlog is. The theme of next week's vlog is going to just be straight up science fiction. It's not a buddy read or anything like that. I'm trying to get to Fable so I can tell you about my next read of what next week's vlog is going to be the focus on. The book is called Fever by Dion Meyer. It's right over there. And let's go to Explore and let's type in Fever. Again, this phone is so slow, especially with that new like software update. My phone is so laggy. Okay, this is it, Fever. I don't know what PB next to it. But I had never heard of. Okay, here it is. I saw it at an indie bookstore up in Kannapolis Editions, I think it's the name of the bookstore. But okay, this is the plot here. In a post-apocalyptic South Africa, a boy and his father strive to survive and build a new community, battling threats from within and outside their ranks. This is a big tome of a book, 544 pages, was published in 2017. And y'all know I love post-apocalyptic plague kind of books. That's my favorite kind of sci-fi, so hopefully this book does well for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way through, leave a snow emoji in the comments below, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!